Evening, everyone. This is a caucus of the Jersey City Municipal Council. We had a scheduled 5:30 p.m. time. It is 5:41 p.m. President roll call. Councilperson Gajewski. Councilperson Gadsden.
Here.
Councilperson Bajano.
Yes.
Councilperson Yun.
Here.
Councilperson Osborne.
She stepped away.
Yeah, she's here.
Phone's here.
Councilperson Robinson.
Here.
Councilperson Rivera, I escorted him out of his office and told him to go home. He gave me a backache. He is in severe pain, so we'll be without him tonight. Councilperson Waterman.
Here.
And Council President.
Here.
We have 8 members of the council. Leading off.
That's what I had.
Leading off is Director Stamato.
We don't need it.
I just reached out to Jerry.
Actually,
That's what I said.
okay, we can start.
That's good work.
No. Is the
head of the planning board here? No. I had asked 3 times at the corporation council to have the head of either
I
a
spoke to
lawyer.
that board, and he was supposed to have the attorney for the planning board here today.
What happened last week was an absolute disgrace and embarrassment.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's proceed with our business. And
Okay, what do we got, Director?
got Z12, 13, 14, and 15.
First item is on the agenda is 10-12, resolution
10-12.
number 17-3324.
Yeah, it's a contract with W.E. Timmerman Company for parts and repairs of street sweepers under state contract.
Correct. And that the amount is for $45,000, and it basically will handle our 24 street sweepers that we have.
Okay, the next is Z13, Samuels Incorporated, trading as Buy-Wise Auto Parts for the purchase and delivery of non-OEM automotive parts and accessories for light-duty vehicles under state contract for the Department of Public Works Automotive Division.
Correct. This is for the city's total fleet of vehicles, of 1,600 vehicles. Last year, we spent $250,000, and we're asking for 220 for this contract.
Next is Newark Brush Company for road maintenance equipment and sweeper brush parts and repairs under state contract.
Correct. This is to provide the sweeper brushes for the actual sweepers. Last year, again, we spent $45,000. This year, we're looking for 100, but we don't expect to push to spend that.
Okay, and then finally 15, always bright, clean, spotless pool surfaces for the maintenance and services and chemicals for Pershing Field, Pavonia, Lafayette. For the Department of Public Works, park maintenance.
That's correct. That's again, it's for the maintenance and inspection of the swimming pools and operations for Pavonia, Pershing Field, and Lafayette pools. Winterize, summarize the pools, and also includes the filtration, chemicals, feed system, install deck equipment, lower water levels, blowout and cap filtration lines, and so on. All materials and labor, but DPW last year spent $37,000. This year, we received two price quotes, one for $37,785, and the second one for $47,650.
Any questions? Hearing none, thank you, Director Stamato. Get some rest.
Yes. Keep in mind, go Army, beat Navy.
Think Navy.
Think Navy. I'm not going to make a comment on that.
You're gonna regret that.
So just a pet,
I just want, yes, sir.
American flag and the Bogan and
I'll take care of the flag.
Okay, good, thank you.
I just want to add one thing. There is some pictures going around the youth councilman in reference that you were wearing a sweatshirt that basically said "Go Navy, beat Army."
Yeah, I got it from West Point.
Well, it did say that. It said Navy, go beat Army. Good evening, sir.
That's the one.
Flo,
That's the one.
come on up. Flo has 10Z2, Z2. Florence Barron, with Economic Development Corporation.
Is that the planning board attorney in the back? Is that the planning board attorney in the back?
That's a good thing for you.
So this is a resolution approving
You start.
a revision to the UEZ map. This adds Jewel Electric and, was it just Jewel Electric? Who else?
319 Tonley Avenue and Jewel Electric, 455 3rd Street. This is actually re-including them. They were included in previous maps, which unfortunately they got unlocated in the zone, and it is affecting their certification. So we're trying again to get this approved by the state, first, of course, by the council, and then get it approved by the state so they can enjoy the benefits of the UEZ program for their employees and for the residents of Jersey City.
Thank you, Flo.
Thank you.
Director Kears, 10Z9. Is the planning person here?
Hey, Caco, did the planning people come for the Rich Boggiano thing?
I don't know who the attorney, is that the attorney? Is that him?
It should be Matt and Lloyd.
That's him there? Okay.
That's lawyer, planning.
Sure.
Thank you. Congratulations, your daughter.
Thank you. Made the first grade.
No, she please. She's in police. She's in.
Authorizing the award of a contract to Millennium.
Upgrade to OEM vehicles,
OEM vehicles.
the mass command center and
Good evening, Mr. President and members of the City Council. I'm here before you to speak on Resolution Z9 17-321. It's to award a contract to Millennium Communications to provide upgraded communications and enhanced video capabilities to the mobile command vehicle. The present equipment is approximately 7 years old. The truck was built in 2009. And after conferring with Bob Baker, who does our communications, we need some upgrades that will allow us to coincide with the current software and network requirements. Upgrades include dedicated computers for emergency communication, as well as expanding the network capabilities and peripherals related to the onboard video system. We'll also be adding capabilities for the mass care vehicle, which pretty much operates as the office building, setup that we go for major events, and we're adding network sharing capabilities and also video surveillance.
Any questions for Director Kears on 10Z9? Hearing none. Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
What's the individual's name?
Is it Matt who's here from planning?
Matt's
Is it
not-
planning? Is there the attorney for planning? Yes. Yeah. If you could just introduce yourself, sir.
Sir,
Have a seat.
get up here when you do it. I met you in the parking lot last week. We almost traded paint.
Good evening, Council President, Council members. Dennis Laloya from the firm Florio Kenny Raval. Liloia.
With what went on 2 weeks ago at Tours in Jordan. The people had the right to speak because they brought back an engineer and it changed the whole situation there. The first week, when they spoke 2 weeks before that, they had it open to the public. The engineering plans weren't there. So I spoke to a couple of attorneys that are very well versed in all these situations. The planning board was wrong. They should have had their right to speak. I want that case reopened, and I want the people to come back. There's a lot of people up there that are really ticked off at what happened that night.
Well, Councilman, I respectfully disagree because there was no new evidence presented that night. There was not. The engineer was not there. The engineer did not testify.
The engineer's plans were not presented.
The Jersey City Municipal Engineer's report was submitted, but it was not discussed, and testimony was not taken that night.
They couldn't get up and ask any questions. You cut the people off, which is wrong. This city, we have a right, and the people have a right to get up and ask questions. And to do that was absolutely wrong. And there was an attorney there that night, who was very prominently well-known in Jersey City, and said the planning board was wrong. And I go by him and another attorney that said the same thing. I mean,
That's fantastic, and again, I disagree with you and them, but what I will do is, because I went back and I reviewed the transcript from the first meeting, and the chairman at that meeting had indicated that he would allow the testimony, he would allow public to come up and make comments regarding the engineering report.
then bring it back and reopen the case.
We will, to correct the error, allow public to come in and make their comments.
There was about 15 or 20 people that were there that night, have every right to come back and present what the case they want to say.
The approval stands, but they can certainly come in and testify.
Stand when the public wasn't heard.
The public's going to be heard, but the planning board reviewed their engineering report, and they made their determination. So unless there's testimony that's going to be taken, which there's not, there's going to be public comment.
As far as I'm concerned, you brought the engineers back, whether sitting back there, because the microphone system in there stinks. Yes, it does. You couldn't hear a thing. And they brought the engineer there, and then they said, that's it, the public can't talk. That is wrong. The people in the city have the right to get up and voice their opinions.
They can make their public comments, but there was no engineering testimony.
Jordan and Mercer, right?
Yes.
Jordan Tours?
So, procedural issue. So the only thing that we're left to go is we're gonna take the public, testimony, which, and that's really all we have to really cover here. I just wanna let everybody here know.
Back to the people, and
Okay.
I'm going to explain to them, and I'll tell you right now, they're gonna say it's wrong.
So-
And you got a lot of ticked off people up in that area of what happened that night.
So can I? Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, I'm just.
All right, they're building a 15-story building.
Okay, good.
And the people came there that night to voice their opinion. 3 or 4 weeks ago, the case was brought, the engineers weren't there. They said they would hold it off and have another hearing. They had the hearing, but they wouldn't let the people get up and speak.
Okay, just to make it clear for that, okay? Because the Councilman Rich Bojano is just so upset with the situation what he faced. So, but rest of council person is not our district, so we're not familiar with the case. Based on his say, they're going to build a 15-story building, and they're supposed to have some kind of public hearing. And the part of the public hearing, engineer have to some kind of make a presentation for engineering report.
No.
So
The presentation was made, the application was made. As a courtesy, it was held open so that Councilman Bojano could meet with the developer. We then rescheduled it for a second hearing to permit that meeting to take place, and in the meantime, for the Jersey City Engineering Department to submit their report, which they do on a regular basis.
So at the time, do you have any some time to public can make a comment for that?
At the first meeting, we took all the public testimony. How about second meeting? Second meeting, we did not permit public to.
Was public testimony closed in the first meeting, or?
First meeting.
Public hearing on the second
Yeah, but
reading.
they brought an engineer in that night.
engineer was
Whether he
not
didn't,
present that night.
yeah, whether he didn't say anything, and as I said,
It's not important, we're going back and forth and saying the same things.
What I'm saying is as a courtesy, because the chairman of the planning board had made the statement in the first meeting that he would permit public to comment on the engineering report, I'm going to allow the public to come in and make comments on the engineering report.
well, then, the 9 people, whatever it is that sit on that planning board should have to re-vote again and listen to the people.
8.
You know, 8.
That'll be their choice at the time. They
What
want to
was
do
the
it.
final vote?
Yes.
What's that number?
It was 8.
Joyce was absent.
I couldn't vote.
Okay, so 8.
Oh, you couldn't
8-0.
vote?
No, because when you miss a meeting,
You can't vote.
so you can't vote on the theory. I was out, so I couldn't vote.
So now what happened, what do we have to do? To make it satisfy that, yeah,
The public's gonna have a chance to comment on the engineering report at the next meeting.
They can't change anything, what's the sense of what even bothering? I'll speak to them, but I can't see any sense to it. I mean, this is a direct violation of the rights of these people in that neighborhood.
Who's the developer here?
Somebody from Brooklyn. From where? Brooklyn. I met with him here, we talked about it, and, we worked a lot of things out. Who's the developer, John, or me?
Who's the developer of this project? I don't even know.
I just know it's the LLC. Jordan Mercer LLC.
So Councilman Richard, what are you looking for them?
I
Exactly.
want it to be reopened and have the people get up and speak and have them re-vote again. If they
And
don't
any
like it,
problem
no.
to do the reopen, to give an opportunity to public to comment or speak?
That'll be up to the board.
That's up to the board. They want to revote.
They have to they have to do a procedural motion and reconsider.
Who have to ask what? He have to be, chair, we have to be, he have to formally.
I will address it with planning to reschedule it so that public can come in and make their comments.
So you can have one more, that's it.
Yeah, but if they're not gonna open it up to a re-vote.
What's their decision?
Yeah, their decision.
I'll leave it up to planning, but Councilman, with all due respect, there's not going to be any new testimony. It's going to be public comment. There's no engineer coming in. Because that's just standard. That's what they do. Jersey City Engineering Department comments on it. I know.
36 years, and the engineers had a lot to say, because people want to know about their sewers, this, that, and everything else. All right.
So the Richard.
Find the gas ridge. They're looking to build over there with an abatement, right? It's not likely that they're gonna get 15 stories off the ground with an abatement, and you can hold their feet to the fire when that comes to us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council.
The BA also had them come. I know, I'm having a good day, right, Councilman?
Sir, thank you. Okay, Joe, you're up. The engineer.
Good evening, Council President and Council. Tonight I have item Z24, resolution authorizing shared services agreement pursuant to the Uniform Shared Services Consolidation Act, NJSA 40A 65:65-1 at SEC, among the City of Jersey City, the Jersey City MUA, and the Hudson County Improvement Authority. This is all in connection with the repaving of Duncan Avenue West. It's the long block from Route 1 and 9 down to the riverfront, Hackensack Riverfront. The HCIA has overseen the preparation of plans, specifications, bidding, and now subsequent award of a contract to have that constructed in accordance with the plans and specs that were drawn. And as part of that, they've asked for us to share, as well as the MUA to share in the cost of that, at the completion of construction of which the road, that portion of road would become Hudson County owned and maintained.
And the reason why the MUA is involved is that a year ago, they did some sewer and water improvements, and so they didn't spend their paving money to properly pave the street, because they knew this was coming, because they want this thing leading up to the golf course, a nice, clean roadway, and that's why they've asked to take ownership of the street moving forward. They'll do the snow, they'll do the cleaning moving forward, so that's why it's a tri-party agreement.
Any other questions? Your packets had the.
Thank you.
It's coming. It's along with Councilman Youn's 8
Can you
roads.
give me a time?
Yeah, they've gotten their permits. They're looking to break ground in 2 weeks with the rest of the Ward D streets. Allen is the next one after. It's in 9th place right now. The one we met about that day? You met with Paul from my office? Yeah, we'll do whatever we have to there. We didn't really notice anything in particular, but I'm sure by now, after all the dousing rains, we could find something. Test pit. Yes, sir. I got your email today. Yes. So here's what we have going on. MLK. I'll jump right to that next. Grand Street. That section of Grand Street. There was a utility company, High Point Utilities, that has a significant amount of pavement owed to us, lane widths, if you will, an entire intersection, and some other areas along Grand Street. Being that we have the Grand Street study underway, And hopefully, at the end of that, we'll be able to budget and pave the entire length of Grant Street from the hub to the waterfront. We'll see if we can get a portion of that owed to us paved right away, because that is so bad. And that's what headway I've made this afternoon since our email. So that's the latest update. I'll keep you abreast of that. MLK, we were awarded approximately $950,000 from the NJDOT to pave. The remainder will be matched by CDBG and city funds. All of MLK, just like Ocean Avenue was last year, is scheduled to be paved from one end to the other. The only thing you won't see is from Kearney Avenue North, immediately, the intersection's being paved, because there's a separate federal program that's going to take care of all the corners, any adjustments to traffic signals, and the paving of the intersections alone. So if you see us jumping, we'll talk more as time goes on. If you see us jumping over the intersections from Kearney and the 9 intersections north, that's why. It's going to come back, it's going to get done. But MLK, for the most part, will be done from one end to the other before the end of this year. Last year we did Ocean Avenue from one end to the other.
Questions, maybe. And the first thing is to thank you for your good job, really. I really appreciate it. So now, when we get the 2017, no, his birthday, that's why I give the gift. 2016, we talked about street paving, the Terrace of Columbia, Liberty, and the Bowers, and so on. And at the time, Palisade Avenue was not included, but before that, we asked for New York Avenue and the West Avenue. And that was actually put in schedule 2016. And the West Avenue, New York Avenue disappeared, they put in the Palisade Avenue. I understand why they Palisade Avenue, but what happened in New York and the West Avenue?
They're number 1 and 2 on your list for the next round.
When is the next round?
We're hoping for 2018.
The end of this year will become, the next capital ordinance will come to the council later this year, early next year with.
But that's what I have as number 1 and number 2, because they didn't make the last program. Again, Palisade there was some money left over. There was some heavy requests for Palisade. I think it was warranted, and that's how we arrived at Palisade. But the other roads you mentioned, within 2 weeks, we're going to be breaking ground.
Okay. Second thing is, I asked at the last council meeting that about the streetscaping fund grants. When they expected? This is a street paving, but streetscaping fund. So like on Newark Avenue, they finished there like a few years ago. Streetscaping for the repaving, street fixture, all those. When do you expect the grant?
So as far as streetscaping, in the mid-2000 to 2010s, there was an abundance of funding through the statewide Livable Communities grants and a few other grants available through the DEP for that type of improvement. It was the heyday of streetscapes in the turn of this millennium and around that time. Since then, that money has dried up. The only streetscaping you've seen has been completely capitally funded. So as of right now, we don't have plans for any streetscapes because, as you know, they cost 4 to 5 times the cost of the regular just roadway improvement with the handicap ramps, or the ADA ramps, I should say, at the corners. So if you put in a special request, we can always draw up cost estimates and then discuss funding, but the funding is going to largely come from capital funding and or CDBG if it qualifies. There's sections of the city where... yeah.
Be part of the conversations we have when we develop the next capital budget. I mean, if you have ideas, we'll certainly listen to them. But nothing, I would say next year you're looking at the earliest.
Not this year, it's just get up
No.
from the federal. Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Is Pam here?
Pam and Soraya. This is 3D. It's a first reading ordinance. Did you fill out form?
It's
3D.
Okay. This is an ordinance amending Chapter 3, Administration of Government, establishing the Office of Welcoming Communities in the Jersey City Municipal Identification Card Program.
Hello, my name is Pam Andes. I'm the Assistant Director of the Resident Response Center, and I get to oversee the Office of Welcoming Communities. And I have Soraya Hebron from the Mayor's Office, and we've been working on the Municipal ID program, which hopefully you got a copy of the PowerPoint presentation. This municipal ID card, I think I've spoken to you individually, is for the purpose of identity, proof of identity, and residence within that city. You can get discounts and benefits with city agencies, with small businesses or any large businesses. You could get discounts at Jersey City Shop Local program that we're hoping to have. You could open bank accounts. There is a 6-point verification system that we use similar to the New Jersey Department Motor Vehicle. 4 points for identification and 2 points for residence. And that's also listed in the ordinance as well as in the PowerPoint presentation. Would you like to add on the?
Just so the council is clear, while there are benefits such as discounts, and things like that, the main purpose of the card is to make sure that every resident of Jersey City has a document that says, this is who I am and I live in Jersey City. So if you are a member of what we call vulnerable populations, so if you are homeless, if you are transgender, you have the option of identifying, your preferred gender on the card. So we're trying to make sure that everybody in Jersey City can have access to a form of identification where even if they're a citizen in another country, if you are living in Jersey City, you have a document that says that you are a resident and you can have access to any public resources that we offer through the city with this card.
Yes. So we've been skirting around that. Let me say, this is really designed to also address the needs of immigrants and also formerly incarcerated people, as I said, homeless and others. And I also just want to remind everyone that when the mayor established the executive order, Sanctuary City executive order, and the council passed a resolution affirming our support for Sanctuary City, that as part of that resolution included a commitment to establishing a municipal ID program in Jersey City, which was one of the main points.
Yes. So the information, when you go to get a card, you will make an appointment, you come, and we have, like Pam said, the 6-point identification, and none of your information will be stored though. So we will not be having anything written down at all, because if we have things written down, then we have to keep it. So when you come, you will bring your passport from another country, your valid passport. It will say Joyce Waterman, and we will use that document to type into the computer to print off your ID. So we will not be transmitting that information to another piece of paper or keeping it. There will be no data collection for this.
DMV, you go there and they check off the your ID, and then they give you your documents back.
Curious because with the illegal immigrants and all of this with ICE coming to arrest them and deport them, I'm saying now, how are we storing this information? Because
We're not.
We
just
specifically designed this program to answer that by having no data collection so that we could protect that vulnerable population as well as our own records.
So we will only be collecting identification numbers, which will be on your card. So even when you renew the card will have to be renewed every 2 years. Even when you renew it, you will have to come back and get a new number. So, and we will just record how many, were renewed, how many are new, and things like that. Well, then it expires, and then you don't get access to any of the benefits or privileges of the card, and then you lose that form of identification, just like if you didn't renew your license, then you don't have the rights and privileges of the license. Yes, so for the cost, the card is available to any resident ages 14 and up. For ages 14 to 17, the card will be $10, and 18 and up, the card will be $15. If you have an affidavit that states that you are, a member of a homeless shelter, then you will be able to waive the fee. And also, if you have any proof of public assistance, we will waive the fee as well. an affidavit from a homeless shelter. Will
You know, they may have a birth certificate and then a certification from a homeless shelter. You know.
When it comes to feeding homeless people, that's part of the problem. Because a lot of the organizations that feed them don't have ID on them. If they have ID on them, then they can't get certain food or something. The law has changed.
I can.
Right.
I don't know if we need to get all, there's ways that we can do it.
This card, yeah, well, so this card, you can't board a plane on it, with it, you can't drive a car with it, it can only do certain amount of things. So they would definitely have to provide some information in order to have, for the identification purposes.
This card more likely usable in the city of Jersey City.
Yes.
So next step, how about the county government? Are they gonna be honoring our, because most welfare belong to county.
Right.
So now I wanna make sure that actually city services are very simple. Swimming pool, or library,
Right.
and what else we have? Actually, that's what we
about
have. Yeah, that's about it. So now,
HHS.
Absolutely.
but more likely, people in need of services like welfare, which is belong to county. I just want to make sure that county will be honoring our city card as our ID. That's what I want to know.
Well, right now we're trying to focus on getting it accepted in Jersey City and, launching it here. So once we, launch it and we distribute it, we are working on building those relationships to get it recognized at those levels.
I
That is
do want to
important.
add that the Hudson County Alliance to End Homelessness was very excited to hear that we will be starting a municipal ID program, mostly because of the county's homeless program. So the county was very excited on that first step. But yes, we could definitely aim to do more, and we hope to do more.
Welcoming communities?
The Office
Yes.
of Welcoming Communities in the Resident Response Center will be doing the pre-screening process as well as creating the ID cards.
Another section in this for homeless folks, and just make it more explicitly clear on how they can get identification, because that's like a big problem that I had, like working with homeless people on the streets, and even them going into the shelters, because if they don't have ID, then they can't even, they can't go to the shelters.
So, our understanding of the homeless program that we're trying to get people who are homeless sustainable, right, is to get them into the program. So that's the first step. So if they're not choosing to be part of the program, it's the idea is to first get them into the program. And part of the program with all the homeless providers is to get this ID to help them. But yes, there are other steps.
Actually apply and document, like address, like they don't have that, like information on them when they come from off the streets.
Yeah, a lot of the homeless providers, as well as our office with the Resident Response Center, has always worked on getting that birth certificate from Trenton. There are other services that our office and the homeless providers do. For this program, it's specifically just one part, but yes, there are other programs that are out there that will help them get their birth certificate from Trenton, as well as other identification. We've had to work on getting somebody's green card, someone who also had no, documentation. So yeah, we work with the providers to do that.
And like, how would you provide that assistance for somebody who was just incarcerated, just coming out of jail? Like what, what could they provide out of all these points? Because I don't see too much they can actually provide. Like coming out of jail.
The reentry program, they have
There was a card on there.
To participate in
on the
this.
ordinance.
So I just want a little bit more clear on the folks who are coming out from jail, prison, and living in Jersey City, and the homeless. A little bit more details on how they're going to receive this identification.
Okay, and I agree. I think that when we, draft the information on how you can get this card and apply for it, we can use this as an incentive to direct people to those resources like Pam was talking about. So if you need the municipal ID program, you have trouble, getting those documents, then here's another organization that can help you get those documents so you can come to us. So I think it's all a part of, networking and putting a lot of different resources together, but it's an important problem.
How could an undocumented resident show documentation?
So people are undocumented.
With the country,
Right, it's
so
because-
nationally, but
So they would have to show
So if
all
they have
the
a valid
information
foreign
from,
passport from their home country.
and that's accepted.
yes.
Their council ID.
Question, I'm pretty sure this, even though they make very sophisticated credit card or ID card, still they will make a counterfeit very easily. Today's technology out there. I don't want the city of Jersey having a counterfeit of the Jersey City ID card. Do you have any plan to prevent that part of it?
There's a security
Because once
feature.
they start to make a counterfeit of a Jersey City ID card, then people who has ID card will be useless. So now, first thing is, how are we going to prevent? What plans do you have? If that's the case, how are we going to be correct the problem?
So there's an added security feature that we purchase into where the cards are pre-printed with a security seal. And then after that,
When they security seal, can you explain to us more detailed information? What that means a security seal?
the security seal,
I'm sorry, I asked a tough one.
yeah. It's called a foreshadowing effect that has to be sent out to a very specialized vendor to pre-treat the card before it even gets to us with our specific design of the seal. And then it gets sent to us, then we print on top of that. So our understanding that security seal is very difficult to, you can't just do it by a printer. It's a special treatment to the card, and that's not something done by a printer.
Even though they make a US bill, very sophisticated technology they will use. There are tons of counterfeit out there. I don't know how you guys are going to control. I don't want the city of Jersey. We have a problem with the birth certificate issue. I don't want Georgia City be as a bad name of counterfeit to happen. You know what I'm saying? So probably you have to pay more attention to that part of it.
Other cities have been doing this municipal ID card, and fraud, the question of fraud has come up. What they noticed, because they added so many security features in certain other towns, that this wasn't a card that people were likely to fraud because they did not want discounts. It's a discount card. Why would they, create this fake card? It's just outweighs.
Second question is that actually, it's no doubt people has major problems of how to open their bank account. How are you going to be actually lobbies, or how are you going to push that to Jersey ID card to make as a government ID, so they help them to open their bank account? But usually bank regulated by the federal. So how is it going to be, and which bank able to open their account with this Jersey ID card?
Well,
That people pay $15, you know what I'm saying?
throughout the state of New Jersey and also in New York City, there are a lot of banks that have accepted this government issue. So the banks that are, they're mostly federal credit union banks. We're having conversations with local federal credit union banks, and when we will confirm that partnership, who will accept this government issued ID when we are working on that.
Everybody says bank in Jersey City?
Well, I would imagine. You would think that would be a leverage point.
Right, what about the yesterday? Right,
So,
because
Pat?
that's our thing.
You can continue with your question.
Yeah, so you can answer.
Everyone's very excited.
You can continue.
Thank you, everyone. Yes.
Because give to ID in people of Jersey City is a good idea. But our concern is that when they pay $15 and every 2 years they have to pay another $15, we should make that their money is worse. So probably you do have more some backup work to make sure that which bank is gonna be able to open that bank account with that. It's make some kind of what you can with some process, instead to wait for. So when you've done all those things, I think that was the time you should be issued ID card, not just rush ICE card. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, we're definitely going to finalize everything that we've talked about, but a great thing that we've talked about was the Shop Local Tuesdays idea. Shop local in Jersey City, look out for what local businesses, small businesses are going to participate. So that's a definitely exciting benefit for everybody. So that's definitely going to be finalized in the program. We're very excited. There's lots of opportunities, but I hear you.
The count on how many we do?
Yes. They will be numbered, yeah.
And just to correct what you said earlier, every 2 years, when you renew your card, it's going to be $10 when you renew it. You said $15.
Even though past for the 10 years, driver license, how many years driver license? 4 years?
So your driver's license is 4 years, but if we change the years, we have 14-year-olds getting this card. So if you're 14 and we're going to wait until you're 18 to get another one, you look completely different. You are a completely different person because this card is available for a wide range of residents.
Standard.
So that's the standard for municipal IDs.
Right? It's not 2
Yeah,
years.
kids are fine.
Well, it's, yeah,
But they say.
But if age of
a passport is, you use it when you're traveling, but.
it's just a residency ID card, then we better have, if age over 18, have it like a 5 years. They don't have to pay Jersey City twice a year, $15.
People move around. Yeah, let's speak practically and honestly here. The populations that are being targeted are transient populations, right? So their residency is not likely to necessarily be long-term. You're not looking at 5 to 10 year residents potentially here.
The apartment next to me, someone is out of it every 6 months.
There's a vulnerable population that we're serving, so they probably could use it.
When you say that when you move out to Jersey City, you must have to return the card. So 2 years, 5 years, people is a long-term resident of Jersey City, get the benefit out of it. If they want to stay 6 months, they return the card. So what's make the difference? Yes.
And I believe that is in the ordinance. If you don't, you do have to return the card.
Every 2 years, that's my concern. The way you claim that if people turn up 6 months, let the people has the benefit out of it. So 5 years or 4 years, but if people 2 years or 6 months, they can return the card the way you ask.
Yeah,
So extend the term. Other than that, I got no complaint for that. Okay? Good. Can we amend it till 2 years to 4 years?
You guys have the ability.
No, 2 years.
You guys have the
Let's
ability.
leave it.
Once it's introduced on the council agenda, as with any ordinance or a council member can amend it by making a motion to amend it. I'm not looking to amend it. That's my.
That your side.
We're gonna stick with 2 years because we know that is the standard. My name is on this. I'm not looking to amend it. Let's just put it that way. How's that? There you go.
Let's try it out for 2 years, and then after that, let's see how that goes. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, Elizabeth, I didn't have your form. Yours was an easier lift, so I would have gone to you earlier.
No worries. Hello. We are here for 3E and 3F.
So it's technically 2 items, but they're like kind of.
They're semi-related.
They're related, so 3E and 3F. So 3 is changing certain fees regarding the permitting of public assemblies. It's pretty straightforward. You want to say anything, Elizabeth, on this?
I got calls from 2 SIDs today that are very unfriendly to this. And one of the things was, one of them brought up is that, when you have a public assembly, you also have to get $1 million worth of life insurance. You don't say that yet. Liability insurance. Then I also was in contact with a couple of religious individuals, they're a little upset with this. Can we hold this off and then sit down with some people and talk about this?
May I make a suggestion, because me and Elizabeth have discussed this, and part of the purpose of this is that people put in applications for permits, and they go through a lengthy process. Time and resources are expended, and then they withdraw the application, and they don't decide not to do their event, or whatever the case might be. And so that's a waste of, so my suggestion is that we make it refundable. Like, you go, complete the process, you get it refunded, or it's a credit to your permits or fees or things like that. And I also received, after actually we met, literally after we met, which was only like an hour ago, I probably got like multiple calls and emails about it at this point, so.
Here's what it is. When you put a fee in, you know, the council always has the right to waive fees. They would just need to apply and have a resolution. So if they're doing it in a timely manner, we can certainly present that to you in groups. You know, it's more of, you know, we don't want people to be abusing the system. The system is very accessible now. We're online. It's extremely user-friendly. And what's happened a couple times we found, and not often, and usually it's repeat, people coming back to do events. And, you know, a religious gathering wouldn't even be a charge. So that's something like that. But we found that, you know, people get permitted, and this takes a lot of time and resources from every department, basically. So it's hours of work to get a permit ready. And then people are like, oh, yeah, thanks for the permit. We aren't having our event. So then we have to go back and redo everything. So, yeah.
Through and.
Make sure they're really thought through, planned out, and ahead of time, and especially for the larger ones.
You say, just say that city council has waived the fee, then they waive the fee based on our city council approving as a whole meeting, or just say resolution, right? Or we can make a more convenience that maybe BA have a power to or authorization to waive the, you know.
Just make it refundable. My suggestion is make it refundable upon completion of the application. If they complete everything, then you host your event, you get your money refunded. It's once the permit and the event is actually completed. So if they go through this entire process, it's, what is it, $50? Like,
it's $50, $25 for some things, but most things also require, you know, a licensing fee. You know, you could easily probably credit that against that.
credit against the licensing fee, whether it be health permits or something like that. Yeah, rather than having the council waive things, then it becomes political, frankly. Yeah, it's just,
Block parties are paying a $50 application fee, and that's also their licensing fee. That's what it is now. Everyone happily pays it. There's no issue, and we give them a license out of our department. So it's not something that's... Right.
Assembly.
Where?
On the sheet.
Page 2.
Which one? It says public assembly with a temporary structure. Can you explain that one fully? The $450?
That would be like a large structure over 900 square feet. So we're talking about like a big tent, a huge stage. This is a big production. That's what a temporary structure would be.
the festivals down at Exchange Place that puts up the full stage and has a beer tent or whatever.
Like a commercial.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, these are fine, because this is private use of public space for the most part, and when people are doing that, they're taking it away from other members of the public, so I don't have a problem with it.
Well, a festival like St. Joseph's or Mount Carmel or St. Nick's, we don't use public space. We use, you know.
Yeah.
But you're saying.
That'd be a
Right.
Which is the same.
It doesn't say that on here, that's why.
No, it does say.
It does say.
It does say.
Next.
So all I got is this.
Okay, the second item is 3F, which,
So 3F was a master cleanup of the licensing and definitions. It's lengthy, but more simplified. A lot was taken out and, more concise clarification was added in. If you have any questions about anything, let me know.
Can you just please go through and like bullet point the key things? Because at least, one group has reached out to me with questions, so.
So bullet point.
Just put bullet point the key things. I
So
mean,
essentially, prior to this, we permitted festivals, but they weren't defined in any place, defined specifically. So this is really taking, this event type and putting a definition to it. That way, when we get an application in, we can say, okay, this fits into this event type, and it's very clear as to what it is. And we can just say, okay, you are having a festival, or you are having a flea market, or you are having an outdoor market, and this is the type of permit you require, and this is where it goes. And so it's clear for everyone. That's really what this is, clarifying definitions, as opposed to kind of guessing and fitting a square peg into a round hole.
About like, say public assemblies, somebody passed away, you do a candlelight vigil, is that illegal?
It's not illegal. It requires just the sign off from public safety. So usually it comes in through us, and then we go to the district commander, the chief, and the police director, and that's it.
Event, they were constructing a tent to do it outside, then that's something else.
And you'll see in here. Yeah, there's, where was that? They would still do an application, and that's really for us to understand what's happening throughout the city and for everyone to coordinate. There's no fee for that. No, you would not do it the day of. You would hopefully do it ahead of time. If their circumstances arise that something needs to be happen the day of, we certainly go out of our way to try to accommodate that.
So how much time,
So there's a timeline also in the definitions that requires, public assembly, we ask for 30 days, but something like a vigil, clearly we make accommodations. And that's really up to public safety. So if they're willing, if they're able to accommodate it, I've never seen them really say no unless there's an extenuating circumstance.
The hours of the operation, still 11 p.m. is reasonable, really?
It was midnight.
Is it too late in public area to have a party? Bench.
No, but I thought it should.
Shut the music down an hour early.
Right.
Cleanup time.
11 p.m. that means they're gonna shut down 10, but 10 is okay, I don't know.
10 is okay.
I'm not feel comfortable actually.
10 is okay.
Yeah?
So on a weekend, on a
10
weekdays,
is
it's
okay.
10.
10 is
Shut
On
down at
weekend
9, right?
too. A lot of people have go work Saturday, Sunday too.
I agree with you. It was 12. We made it 11. So if you want to bring that up, I think it's reasonable on the weekend.
on a weekend.
No, I mean, I'm closing my windows and going to bed.
City. Okay, no other questions for Director Kane? Thank you, Elizabeth. Director Peretti.
Mayor, you're up.
You're after. You're right after.
Which one are you gonna do?
We are, so 4A, this is Councilman Yun's ordinance, 4A. So while we have Director Peretti with us, can we,
June and the co-sponsor Councilman Richard Bojano.
Okay,
Both,
well-
but doesn't matter which you get it, but, okay, now, go ahead.
I was really just asked to come and give my input, my feelings on the ordinance.
Before you talk, 'cause mine, you'll probably talk about mine too, I'm withdrawing mine because of the meeting we had and the whole larger conversation. So I'm gonna ask that the council table 4F, because we decided we're gonna overhaul downtown altogether in one big swoop, not just the few zones. So mine is gonna, I don't want us to address that because I want to vote it down.
Yours is withdraw.
Vote down.
Table or defeat?
Defeat, let's go ahead and defeat it.
Without public hearing.
Here, yeah.
Yours.
Not his, I'm saying, I just didn't want us to get in that conversation.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, Michael, you're up.
Only thing is this one, Corporation Council.
Yes, sir.
So 4A, they have a small mistake, was they're missing the one of the street name, so we have to put in street name, okay? And the another one is that their concern is that you can bring up enforcement issue.
Yeah, I think.
My concern with the ordinance, I have no problem with moving forward with extending hours of enforcement and so forth. My concern is the ability to do a 24-hour enforcement. Right now, I don't have the staff, the manpower, the equipment, the vehicles to do this in 6 months. When I had met with the community group last week, I had said, if you want to pass this, we're working towards, I'm looking at license plate reader technology, I'm looking at revamping the permit program so that we can use license plate technology to read the permits on vehicles. But a license plate reader costs, anywhere between $10,000, $15,000 per unit. So this is not an inexpensive venture. But to have people out at 3 in the morning going up to a car to check a permit is also not a very safe thing. It's also going to require the hiring, if you go 24 hours a day, an entire new shift. Even going to 11 in the evening is going to require hiring additional manpower. Correct. And supervisor-wise, I need to hire supervisors as well as regular PEOs. I also need to order vehicles. The scooters cost $30,000 apiece. There is capital funds available that you've already appropriated. The GO4s are the only vehicles available that you can actually ticket from both sides. We can obviously use different type of 4x4 for a booting division or some of the other aspects, but to do street cleaning, whatever, you definitely need a scooter because it's the only thing, and there's only one game in town. And for 3 years, they're out of business. There is no options. So my youngest scooter is a 2008. My oldest scooter is a 1996. So, the bubble gum and Band-Aids are starting to get a little old, and yes, everyone has done a very good job maintaining them, but my point being, none of this is inexpensive. And my biggest concern is, as I've expressed to the councilman, I'm not going to be able to give you 24/7 in a short period of time. I don't want to put myself in a position where I'm going to look bad by not being able to do what you're passing. An 11 o'clock hour, it's still manpower, but it's less manpower. They're also looking to do 24/7 on a Saturday. But so many people within parking enforcement, after we merged, I'm it. There is no director of enforcement. I have no assistant directors. So right now, I have an 18-hour day, Monday to Friday and Saturday. So I'm going to definitely need additional supervisory staff to assist me to do this right.
Can you move it to 11? That was the original, what I had in this one originally, with the purpose being that at least there was currently staff, we didn't have to increase the budget. Maybe that's what you should do.
So now, this is what happened. I'm going to explain to the all council members. Actually, my office, since 2013, we have 4 public meetings and we have a 4 online service because we know that their parking issue is number 1 issue is Heights area. And the current they have a zone 2 parking, 2 hours of free parking without permit, and is some portion of the Heights. The problem what we have faced in Heights, a very serious problem, because of Union City, they enforce residential parking. So people used to park at the Union City, they now cross street at the Patterson Plank Road. Yep. They all come and park the Heights.
Yep.
And another disadvantage what they have that people living next block is a 2 hours zone parking. When this guy tried to park that zone area, they get ticket. But zone area guy can park any place they want. So they more cause problem non-zone areas. That's why they try to make one. Since we have a 4 public meeting, 4 online services, we set up the Georgia City Heights Parking Review Policy Committee. Over the 6 months, they have probably several dozen of the meeting, probably dozen of the meeting they have. They come out, this one, actually, this one, and also this whole plan approved by Block Association, Nelson Avenue Block Association, Sergeant Anthony, Riverview, and the Washington Park, they're all supporting this one. So I got no problem because that's what they want. And actually, this plan is a very similar plan to what we planned to 2013 in my office. It's a great idea, but an enforcement is an issue. Yes, we understand. But put it in, and the people knows that we're going to have a meeting, it's a public meeting. We're going to have educated people because of manpower, the waiver of the issue, that we're going to enforce face by face. So first, whatever sign is installed, that's the way we give the lean time, maybe 6 months for that.
But her problem is she don't have the staff, or I don't care how you phase it in, she needs the
Right,
people.
because even phasing it in, I'm still going to need a full complement of employees to do a phase-in. Well, this is,
What we need to know, we need to have the numbers, understand how we're gonna impact the budget.
and I'm actually working on the technology numbers. Manpower, right now, everyone starts at the $15 an hour for a PEO. And even to do what the mayor wants to do downtown and what you want to do downtown, to extend it from 7 in the morning till 10 at night, it's still, in my opinion, 7 zones, even though it's going to be 1 zone. So you still need to hire a full complement of employees so that it's adequately staffed. I've been fighting the tide of not having enough employees for a very long time, and that's nobody's fault, just trying to get proper staff. So if we're going to do this, I want to do it right, where I have enough manpower to do it.
Well, I think what we need to do is to but for both plans, you just need to come and say it's 30 employees, it's 10 supervisors, it's 20 vehicles. Let's just come, let them know what it is, and then.
Together, so you know the dollar. But just want to make it clear, this is not inexpensive by any stretch. Plus, then they have to re-sign all of the heights, which is, I don't know how much per sign and.
Multi-month, and we have to decide if we're going to be able to handle in-house. Yeah, we may have to sub this out. We may have to do a bid program or a contractual program per year.
I'm not worried about the signs as much, that's a one-time cost.
Yeah,
It's a one-time, but it has to be understood that there won't be enforcement over that time because you're only rolling out a certain amount of signs at a time.
You know what, actually? So if you do the whole height, let's say print the car probably maybe 10,000 or 20,000 car in the heights. You charge $15 each car. You get a lot of revenue also. So whatever your cost will be covered by, they're $15.
Long-term, it will pay for itself, but the short term, the money still needs to be available to.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective as a council person, the capital expense is not at all a concern of mine. I mean, like, that's just, I agree with what Councilman Yan is saying. I do think we should understand if we're creating a long-term, ongoing operational expense, that we should understand what that is, because I think it's
But let me ask you this one. When
Part of
they
our
dissolved the
decision-making.
parking authority, at the time, our public safety director make it clear, he made a statement in the newspaper. Now, as you say, parking authority only, they enforce like a 5, 6 o'clock or 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever. But he promised to us that he's going to enforce the parking 24 hours a day. What happened? Did he come up plan? He said,
Well, I think that was the original intent, and I think it may still be the long-term intent. But parking enforcement currently works 5:30 in the morning till 11 at night, Monday to Friday, and from 6:30 till 5 on Saturday. The zones were only till 5 o'clock. That was never changed. And when he was speaking enforcement, I don't know if he necessarily meant residential zone parking was going to be expanded, or just overall parking enforcement, meaning his goal, I think, was to address some of the parking issues, the handicap parking, the fire hydrants, blocked driveways overnight, so that the police department manpower wasn't going to be utilized for non-emergent situations.
So now, let me ask this one. As I say, most part of the height is urgent. It have to as soon as possible because of that. In a Union City enforced that residential parking. So now, tell me what kind of solution then you have there. What are you going to suggest?
You want a short term? You can zone the blocks immediately adjacent to Union City short term, and then extend to the rest of the heights the entire program. But you can zone just those few blocks and add that short term. Not all of it.
No.
No, not all of it. Not the whole thing.
Pass this one. Enforcement based on yours, readership, and your plan, you can enforce face by face, actually. You know, you can enforce by face. Phase 1, you know, that area first. Phase 2, the next area. So now you cannot say, don't tell us that take all or leave all. Instead to do that, we're gonna pass this one and go by when you enforcement by face, because as I said, northern part of the New Patterson Plank Road, the urgent we have to do.
But what happens, I mean, I
All
don't
right,
think that
let me ask
sounds.
you this way. No, let me ask you this way then. You know what? Let me speak with them. What are they called? The committee. That's the way they come up plan. Let me speak with tomorrow, and let them come up what kind of ideas. Did you spoke with them?
I spoke with Mo, I spoke with David. Their comeback to me was that they still wanted to keep Saturdays and that they wanted to try and do this in 6 months, after I specifically told them it's not possible in 6 months to do everything that needs to get done.
So what about this though, Michael? What about? I hear you that you have to hire maybe a little bit more, but you do have coverage till 11 p.m.
Right.
So can he put in signs for now till 11 p.m.? And that shouldn't be too much extra operational expense. Maybe you hire another person or something, but like at least until 11 p.m. Could he do that instead of 24 hours?
Reflect 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Well, that's my point. That's my point. So
I don't mind to go 11 o'clock, but that's the way the committee come up 24 hours enforcement.
Yeah, well,
That's what it is.
Mary,
To me, 11 o'clock.
The city is 24 hours. Yeah.
That's why it's impacted the very negative.
what, Mary?
it'll be minimized though a bunch. It's really after. It'll be minimized a lot when you get to 11. It's after work. That's right. I think if you do 11, you'll get a lot.
Mary, the mistake here
But then you
was,
should do
when
3
they were
hours
having
instead of
these
4.
meetings, they should have invited you.
Before?
You were?
Yeah, but then
The meetings just kept going in circles and circles and circles. So for 2 years, I went to meetings. The meetings kept going in circles, and there was support at the meetings for this. There's not a lot of support by some people at the meetings. But then the committee met, and this was what their final outcome was. I personally don't agree with 24-hour enforcement in the entire Heights. I'm not a big fan of the 4 hours. I think 4 hours to park is a long time. I think also establishing one section of the city to be 4 hours without a permit, the rest of the city 2 hours without a permit, we're going to create further confusion for people who are trying to park citywide. These are just my concerns. You guys make the ultimate final decision, but I'm also not going to sit here and say that I can do something I can't and make myself look bad, or the council look bad, because why are we going to put something forward that we can't implement in a reasonable amount of time and then make everybody look...
Caucus Council, why don't we do this one? Let me speak with them. We passed this one, but then enforce, adopt this one, and then 1 year later, maybe they're going to be enforced.
It's not enforceable. I can't vote for it.
You're gonna put it on the books and then you're gonna have 500 calls.
But enforce started 1 year later, that's all.
Yeah, you could do, put an effective date of 9 months later. Yeah, which we've done before. And to a certain extent, let me just, Mike, I'm gonna back you up a little bit here, which is that putting an effective, folks, putting in a later effective date, because what could happen is you table it, and we've done that before. Councilman Osborne can attest to this, and then the conversation just ends, right? It really doesn't move anywhere. So you put an effective date later on for like 9 months to a year, then the clock is ticking, and if you got real issues, then like resolve them before then. Yeah, but I would definitely do at least a year.
But then do you know?
Sooner, but I want to be realistic with the...
Let me ask this one. We put in this one once up.
1 year later?
So adopt and 1 year later you're going to implement the program because you have enough time to create the manpowers and the sign is ready, okay? That's what we do, all right? So instead of 6 months, 1 year.
You can make sure the budget's in alignment with all of it and so forth.
And I will work on numbers just for the...
Right, 1 year budget.
Next year's budget.
Next year's budget.
And then as I get information, I can keep everyone in the loop as to dollars and cents.
Who has the digital copy of this?
You guys do.
Did I write it? Who wrote it? So
no, you.
I didn't write it.
No.
So just change the effective date on the ordinance and circulate a replacement for Wednesday.
Yes. Not only that,
From 1 year from
May 1st.
May 1st, May 18th. Yeah.
okay. And also, Joe, we have to add the one of the street name, okay? We're going to provide tomorrow.
Add street names?
Yeah, one street name is missing.
Or just one?
Yes, one.
Which one? You don't recall which one?
No, they didn't tell me. Okay?
Cool.
Good, all right. What was it?
Thank you, Mary. Appreciate it. You got something else, Michael?
Yeah, Joe. Griffith Street, 1 block off Alden Avenue. That was missing. Griffith Street, 1 block off Alden Avenue. All right, and the study is 1 year late. Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay, Stacy.
And we should redesign the signs, and that should be the pilot for like the better signs.
Yeah.
To explain better.
Yes.
Yeah.
The signs are a disaster.
That's fine.
We're gonna do it in a year.
The sign design. Because you've not done any, it won't even be a change, so you'll.
Oh, are we doing, we're staying 24 hours?
Yeah, so they're gonna have also
1 year
new
later.
screws.
They have a year to get it up and running.
Yeah.
1 year later.
They amended it in a year.
If it doesn't work in a year, then you handle it at a year's
Thank you very
time.
much. Good.
It's actually a
Overview.
good, it's a good way of doing it.
You gotta watch your car.
All right, 3G, 3H.
Stacy Flanagan, Director Flanagan is here. These are for 2 community gardens.
They're for actually multiple community gardens. G is separate because it's the only new organization. So G is an ordinance authorizing the city of Jersey City to execute a lease with Community Uplifting Project for the use of the area at Communipaw. So Communipaw and Harrison last year was subleased to Jackson Hill, and Jackson Hill then subleased it to Community Uplifting Project because they didn't have a 501c3. So now Community Uplifting Project has a 501c3 and has applied on their own to take over that lot. Yeah, this is Doris, yeah.
Any questions about that? Hearing none?
Okay.
3H.
So 3H is a renewal of all of the prior lots. There's the Brunswick Garden, the Can You Dig It on Garfield Avenue, the Ogden's End, Riverview, and the Mandela lot. All of those lots are being released to the same organization that managed them last year. And so that's where we are. And so they just wanted us to pass this before Keep Jersey City Beautiful Day so they can kick off their gardens on the 29th.
Do we still do the tour of the community gardens?
So we've done a tour every year. They just take different routes because the gardens have changed a lot. And so to do a bike tour, which we did the first year, we didn't have Garfield Avenue the first year, so the bike tour was a little bit shorter. With adding Garfield Avenue, the actual tour would take about 3.5 hours. So last year, we incorporated the tour on the U.S. World Food Day in October, and we went to all of the locations because all of them grow food, and we partnered with City Bike on that. And the year before, we did a garden tour as a volunteer day activity. And so we didn't do a bike tour 2 years ago. But, I mean, we'd be open to doing that. The way the adopt-a-lots are managed, it's now managed under the Division of Food and Nutrition. So they're working closely with our team under Director Davis. And we are trying to make sure that we have a better understanding of, because the lease requires them to donate 5% of what they grow back to a food pantry or a soup kitchen. And we weren't able to tally a lot of that information last year. We weren't getting a lot of feedback from the garden, so we're trying to push a little bit further to make sure that we can get a better record of that. That's it.
Okay. Any questions for her? None? Thank you. The Director Bernadette, how do we? Kuharchuk. Did I say that right? Yes. Kuharchuk. There you go. You got 10Z8, 10Z11, 10Z16. Z8. Not yours?
Actually, that's the police.
Okay.
Mine's actually start, I misspoke. Mine start at 16. and goes 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20.
So which one's Z16?
16. So this first one is an emergency contract award to Verizon for PRI Internet and FiOS services. We have a contractual obligation to bid these services. They are available under state contract, and we had not previously done that. So it is an emergency resolution because we need to continue the services, and we should have the actual contract back probably in the next month or so.
Let me ask you this one. You say emergency resolution contract, you need that because you guys have brought up the city council late, like 4 months is late, or because of, I didn't see any emergency situation in here.
So prior to this, the former director was just awarded by state contract. Bernadette has now gotten comfortable, is looking at all the contracts, and she's deciding in order to get the best price to do a public bid. So in the interim, we need the emergency contract to cover us from January to July, so she can, go through the procurement process and hopefully get a better price for us.
Yeah, we've already met with all of the major contractors, providers, and had discussions with them, and they are in possession of our inventory of services that we need. So we should get those quotes back very shortly.
See, you know what, I'm at thank you for your efforts, because then now I understand why there's 6 months. I have always a question about the IT department. They have a lot of country are really wondering, really they knows what's going on. So please, keep an eye for that, okay? Yes. I expect you a lot, really. Good luck.
Thank you. So there's a series of these resolutions that are very similar for the same reason.
Z17 is Broadview Networks for voice communication network services.
That one is actually already under state contract, and we are just simply renewing that state contract arrangement.
Now, this one I have a question. I think that this way you should bring up almost every year when you have renewal contract. Still, we have old style. Yeah, some, yeah. And in 2013, 2014, 2015, when I asked them, they're going to be upgraded soon. But I mean, I wait for 4 years, it's still not upgraded. What was the major reason we spend the $70,000, $60,000 a year? And what was the reason they're not able to upgrade their line as like internet voice? Can you explain that anymore?
We are doing that as we're going through. That's part of our inventory process. That's part of our assessment that we're doing with all of these contracts and all of these lines. I will tell you that sometimes in small locations where there's only 1 or 2 employees, it really is more cost effective to continue to maintain one of these plain old telephone line services than it is to outfit with a VoIP connection to that facility. So we are looking to finish the VoIP upgrade. We have plans to get that squared away this summer, and we already have some equipment that we're looking at pricing to place an order to move those things forward. We're moving in that direction. It's one step at a time. Sorry, sir. I wish I could wave a magic wand and make it all happen at once. It won't be much longer.
So this will be going to have to bid again after 6 months?
This will be on state contract. So Broadview is a state contract provider, whereas Verizon is not. Several years ago, the telecommunications was deregulated, and Verizon on the last state contract chose not to submit a bid for those kinds of services.
So we'll just be seeing this again after March 1st?
So we'll be seeing this again under a state contract provider.
Z18?
This is for our Software House International, SHI, and SDL, Spatial Data Logic, is the software that we use. This is permitting software, construction, code, engineering, HHS, inspections. We are really making an effort to fully utilize the software as best as we're able to, and to identify any shortfalls in our Jersey City needs. If SDL is unable to do something to correct those, then we'll bring back other alternatives in the future. But for right now, we're moving forward and continuing with SDL.
Any questions on that?
It helps the inspectors go out in the field and do the inspection and identify permits if people come in and look for permits or need.
It's on their tablets, so a whole host of information. It could be fire information, very department specific. So if building inspectors going out there, you can do an inspection on it, I think, at this point.
Yes.
HHS inspectors can access information on that house.
Right.
So a lot of property records are included in this.
We're trying to break down the silos and have everybody using the same set of databases, and by doing that, we hope to create some efficiencies so that everyone can see all of what's going on with a particular property, add more transparency to it. And this goes a long way to doing that.
This is one of the programs that we try to upgrade the building department service. This is part of
Building
it.
department does use this. This software was purchased right before you guys took office, and some offices are using it very well, some are a little bit resistant, and we're trying to engage them all to see if this is the right direction.
So now, next question is that, probably you know that, the Kansas Sourceman Councilwoman knows that. I think we hired a consulting company to upgrade it or bring up to some kind of program to building department to try to make, what happened? So what happened?
The Zook report came up with recommendations. They weren't hired to upgrade it. They came a nice extensive recommendation package. Yes, that was given to the council 6 months ago.
I haven't seen it.
You don't have a copy of the report?
No, in fact, the one I participated in.
That's what I'm saying. He was one of the
It was
committee
not,
person.
no, well, maybe we're talking about a different thing.
No, this is what it is.
I don't know if it's been officially presented.
There was a report. He said he was giving it to the council, and I guess I assumed he did. Okay. The borough has been heavily involved in all the meetings with the directors, trying to engage them and give them the tools and resources to make it happen.
And that's part of the push with SDL, because and better utilization of this software was definitely identified in the Zucker report repeatedly for the departments involved.
How much will you pay for the consulting company for their service? Next time, we'll run the Brian Blood over here then.
Right now.
No, I think there should actually be, to me, this is worth not only us getting the report, it's significant enough that there should be an official presentation at one of these caucus meetings. It was a significant study, and there was a lot of known issues in that department. Yeah.
The meetings that I've been attending, the idea was to collect responses, because there were some things that were perhaps not fully accurate. The consulting company didn't quite understand, or they took and made an assumption that perhaps wasn't quite right when it ended up in the words. So they were making those corrections.
Presentation? Yes, I'm working with Mr. Ply right now as we speak.
Maybe Chris Guest, Councilman, and Mr. Robbins, Councilman Dunn, we try to put effort to improve their building department, the building permit processing. So we hire consulting company, and they're gonna find out some software to make some, transparency service, the building processing.
Yeah.
And we pay a lot of money. I think we paid $200,000 consulting company. Still, we didn't get any report yet. That's what we talked
And I think it's more than just software, or my hope is that it was more than just software, it was also process and staffing and everything.
They're not providing software. They provided a lot of recommendations for us to purchase, but not the actual software itself.
They also, I'm very good on that part of it. Brian Plan make a statement that the company also going to find out software. If you look at it, meeting script is there.
They will help us with the specifications, but they're not actually going to. Right.
Whatever the specification means that.
Well,
Right, so they're
Then what specification need for?
Their primary recommendation was for the city to fully utilize the software that currently we own. So we need to start by fully utilizing that and identifying any shortcomings, because that software may in fact have shortcomings and not be sufficient to meet our full needs. But we have to be able to clearly identify those needs before we go out and look for another software product. So our first effort is make sure we fully utilize the existing software that we have and identify where the shortfalls are for a gap analysis in order to take it forward and do something else. Thank you.
Very good. Thanks for your job, Lily.
Okay. Next item? Z19.
That's an award to Verizon Wireless for wireless devices and services under state contract.
Yes.
So we giving them?
So this is just straightforward state contract for Verizon Wireless.
Wireless device means cell phone, that's what it means?
Yes, sir.
So we pay $90,000 out. So how many cell phone outside from the Jersey City we provide? Because I never use the city cell phone, you know what I'm saying? I never asked that. But how many cell phone, actually, wireless phone we provide the city employees?
It includes the tablets that the SDL software runs on, the broadband
Right.
cards, so it's not just cell phones.
So now, the BA, it's this one. We hired a consulting company for inventory.
Inventory.
Yes, when we finish the inventory, we will know there how many cell phone, tablet is out there. We will get all numbers, right?
Well, the inventory, the asset inventory is for anything over $5,000 or more, so. But Bernadette's staff has an inventory of the cell phones.
We are actually inventory in general has been a focus that I've been moving towards, and I have staff right now that's going out and meeting with all the different departments, and we are doing a physical inventory as well as a software inventory of all of our hardware and software devices so that we make sure we have that.
The department, each to how many they own this cell phone, they, you know, can you? To all counts people, just curious, you know what I'm saying, right? Okay.
Your inventory is complete?
My inventory is complete as far as the wireless devices goes. Yeah, because we pay, but it does not include public safety. There is a separate.
So they can provide the two, you know, okay?
Okay, let's get the show. Councilman Gaston?
Like a lot of times when I'm reading the ordinances, like you hear, you know, Verizon, and this is a state contract for, to Verizon.
Yes.
Is there a way to like, the various departments use Verizon, whether it be cell phones, whatever type of technology, you know, Verizon provides. Is there a way, whatever, to just outline all the services that, you know, Verizon provides to the city and kind of like, you know, map those things out, like in total, you know, just itemize what Verizon provides to the city or any state vendor that, you know, we utilize as a city.
Our communications budget has by line item, the line items are pretty specific. So there's a wireless line item that is just the city wireless costs, and that is essentially just going to Verizon Wireless. The other line items, there's a Centrex line item and a non-Centrex line item, as well as, and so from the communication standpoint, those are pretty clearly, easily, readily identifiable based on the bills.
No, I don't think so. They're supposed to categorize the budget, right?
Sorry?
The telephone bill, even though we see that our budget book, we're not gonna able to see that the individual, no, they all go to.
I think what he's saying is like, how much money at the end of the day is Verizon getting out of us across everything?
Because I know like sometimes like when I'm formalizing the budget, like for school, right, I'll have $300,000 and I'm utilizing $50,000, whatever, for Xerox. So that money, whatever is allocated for the year. Like the city actually say, this is the amount of money or business that I'm giving this particular vendor. And do you see that moving forward into the next fiscal year?
That's one of the things that I was identifying early on, which is why we've been working with the Public Safety Department, because I do believe that as far as telecommunication services goes, we will definitely get a better price if we combine both the telecommunications from the public safety as well as the city, because our dollar spend there is quite significant. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, sir, sorry. There's a lot of numbers going on right now, but.
We don't allocate money to a vendor.
We allocate.
It was a service, and you have to do a public procurement for that service or product, and then.
But if there's a state contract, we can.
State contract, like, you know, I mean, going out to bid is one thing, but if another thing to say, this is the set amount, because I know when I spend, if I wanna go over that threshold, I have to ask permission and all the rest of that.
Can I use an example, like the Z18 that we have for Software House International for SDL? We actually, the state contract for software, there are 5 vendors that have, it's a multiple award, and we are required to reach out to all 5 of those vendors to get a price before we, before we proceed with procuring under state contract. So the rules for each individual state contract say what we can or what we must do in order to comply with the rules of those state contracts.
And actually manipulate it and just tell them, we spend $10 million with Verizon a year, we spend $15 million with Millennium Communication. And it might be helpful to say, we spent $10 million with Verizon, $3 million civilian, $7 million public safety. Like, it might, they just, I think, want a chart.
But that question is more for purchasing or accounts control, because she would only have her.
It's really for you.
Sorry, boss.
Thanks. Next. There you go. I agree.
Z20.
An emergency contract award to Verizon New Jersey for Centrex Voice Communication Services. That's what I'm saying.
This is, yeah, it's just different, it's different Verizon paying entities. Like, we have to write different checks because Verizon actually has they've differentiated their service and they have different FEIN numbers for these different things. So that's why we require multiple resolutions. I wish we could have just done this with one, but it's unfortunate that's the way Verizon is.
Any questions on this? Hearing none. Thank you, Bernadette.
Also have the same issues.
We've got Bob Baker, Board
Hopefully
Communications,
they got all the questions
Telecom stuff.
Yeah. Just repeat what Bernadette said.
Tell us which are your items, Bob?
We're going to start with 10U.
10U. At least the sun's coming out, I love that.
This is e-ticketing services. This is the last time the council is going to see a claim submitted on the e-ticketing. We went out to RFP to bid. We had the committee that Bob appointed. We're at the final home run. We're going to award it to GTBM. So there will be no more claims under the e-ticketing. And just so you understand what e-ticketing is, last year, which was a poor performance year, we raised $964,000 with e-ticketing. So when you look at the price of what we actually pay per ticket and the revenue that the city gets, this is a home run.
10X?
No, I cannot hear you well. Yeah, can't you, I'm sorry.
Which part did you need? All of it?
Can't you explain it one more time?
It was a home run. Can you explain the e-ticketing again to him?
Yeah.
What e-ticketing is, councilpersons, is we have a machine rather than a ticket book. It's a PDA, and it's also, we have cars that have it, radio cars that have it installed. So as you're walking or driving around and it detects a violation, it prints a ticket. If I'm on a walking post, Journal Square, and you have all the double parkers and a whole bit, you can instantly issue the tickets. Unlike the state, we pay the state so much, we pay the ticket company cents on the dollar, but the bottom line is the revenue that has been bringing into the city has been astronomical. We're paying, I'm trying to remember if it was less than 82 cents a ticket, on the average price. And we've been coming every year to the council and paying this on a claims resolution because the proper procedures of awarding the contract weren't done correctly. So what we've done is, we went out with an RFP. Company came back. We did a committee. We looked at it. It was approved. So the next thing that the council will see is the actual resolution for the award of the official contract. We don't want to come before you anymore with a claims resolution.
The advantage of e-ticketing is when you type in the plate number, it preloads the owner's address, name, DL, so the ticket is very clear. You know, when the officers or parking enforcement handwrite, sometimes you can't read it, and eventually that ticket gets dismissed. This way,
Directly into the state
right.
system.
Where is the state contract A69834 did not include e-ticketing software and hardware, and the city mistakenly dropped that it didn't. What do you mean, sir?
So a few years ago, they claimed that this service was provided under state contract, and the contract was awarded based on that. After the fact, it was found out that it was not true, that the service was not included within the state contract, and hence that was the first time the claims resolution came to the council to pay for the service, because it was not truly a state contract. We went out to bid, I believe, once before,
Yes.
and there was an issue with that bid. In the meantime, they were still providing the service, and I think that's where we're at today with the second claims resolution.
Okay, so now, every time we run and use the machine, we gotta pay $1.62 for the ticket?
Yes.
So it's a license fee we pay?
Yes.
But they provide the printer, as well as the paper, it's all included, correct?
Right, we're municipal court, and I worked at municipal court, I paid for all the tickets for the Jersey City Police Department. That's expensive. In this case, it's cheaper, right, it's cheaper for us. We see more revenue this way than we do with actually writing out a physical ticket. And what it also did is in municipal court, where we had data entry department, where I had 15 people, putting tickets in, trying to read. This issues the ticket, it goes right into the state system, so we cut back even the staff we had in the data entry unit. 10X.
Translation services, doing business as CTS Language Link for telephone-based interpretive services for the Department of Public Safety, Division of Police.
When calls come into the 911 communication system, of course, a lot of people do not speak English, and we need a translation service for all of the languages. Our detectives also use it as well. The company that we've been using, again, as you know, like we live here, we're trying to save money for the city. The current one charges us $1.19 a minute. This company is providing me the same services for 62 cents a minute. And we're seeing no lapse or, a less of a crew. It's the same services at a discounted price. Well.
So now, how many is it actually, I'm sorry, so that the interpret that they involve that, how many calls like that?
Yes, a lot, Spanish, of course, and what I did try to do, councilperson, was to use my Spanish-speaking 911 to even bring this down a little more, but then we found out there would have been a liability to the city of Jersey City should the translation or the dialect have been off, so this was the best way to go.
Really, they're speaking.
We dial in, and then a person will answer the phone, and they'll hear the person, and they'll write away what we need to transfer it to.
I'm speaking
Right, exactly.
Language from one of those obscure
And sometimes, Frank, there is a little bit of a delay because just, even with Hindu speaking too, there's a couple dialects, but they'll find it, but it's so fast.
Next item. Z1? Is that yours, Z1 or no? Z1?
Let's just mention and get it over with. Distracted driving grant, Z1, that's done.
Yes. This is just a small grant that Jackie Sergeant Marquezo's gotten that we'll be using for the putting up, the different traffic zones and stops, looking for drivers on their cell phones or texting, totally distracted.
Feel free to pull over us, and if you see him doing that, yeah, scare him.
Next one is Z8.
He's
That's
driving.
an emergency contract for Verizon for telecommunications data lines, primary rate interface, internet and FiOS non-centric services.
And this is the same as Bernadette just explained. We're in this together, and we're just looking to save the city some money in our services.
I'm going to Chris first and Mike.
We're in this together. You're getting the same, service that Bernadette just asked for?
Mine a great deal more.
Your public safety has its own.
I have 22, unlike the city is 800, I have 2,200 people I provide services for.
Last time when I asked a question, why don't you put it together? At the time, you guys answered me that because of some police department use of Verizon, actually covered by grant,
That was the maintenance?
not a maintenance.
So the question still stands, why not put it together? Why not buy it together?
I'm sorry, say, it's... With the two of us, that's exactly what we're doing. That's why we both came before the council on both. Yeah,
Are you putting out
yes.
a joint bid?
Yeah. We're trying to save wherever we can, because I still have some of my services are still under state contract. They don't expire until 2020. If you remember, with the help of the council, I was able to install a citywide fiber network, which the city is trying to do. I already have it because of the amount of services that we put through. The city closed-circuit TV system alone uses so much bandwidth that, if we were to put in just, something the city would use, it would die. It's extensive for all the services that public safety put through. But just like everything else, every year we're going to take it apart and we're going to look at it to see where we can cut the cost.
Where's the CCTV cameras? Where are we at there?
We're moving along very, very nicely. In fact, we're in the process right now of putting in the purchase orders to finish the line where we extended into the South District, had we bid, and bringing that into my building so we could bring that up right away. That's moving along nicely. And as you know, you just awarded $500,000 for my new servers and storage. That's actually being installed next week.
When it'll be towards the south side of the city, the CCTV cameras? Could you let me know?
Yes.
Okay.
Positively.
You're on schedule?
Yeah.
You're on schedule?
Yes, on schedule.
Turnout, fire and safety for replacement of personal protective gear and equipment, under state contract.
Right.
And Z11, Verizon for wireless. That was the communication center.
That's the same. Oh, this I do have. Councilman, if you want, I do have, I have a thing.
Thank you, sir.
I have it all. Thank you.
I think that's everyone.
From the top.
Yes,
From the top.
you got it.
3A,
Thank you.
ratifying the execution of an easement agreement between the city. We did. That was with Mr. Cunha.
No, this is a different one.
Oh, pardon me. An easement agreement between the city, grantor, the Jersey City.
This is cleanup ordinance for the annex that's being built at the hub. Clean up some old right-of-way issues, and also allowing for the construction of the building to extend it 3 feet under the right-of-way. And then Fountain, where it was, is no longer. There are talks of moving it on the other side. I forget what the name of that street is, but closer to the light rail. But yeah, it was talks about, I think Jeff Weinger, when the plan got amended, included that feature in the amended redevelopment plan to include a plaza closer to the Virginia Avenue side. All right.
Okay, any questions on 3A?
3B.
All right, 3B is an ordinance amending the traffic code designating 50 feet as no parking Monday through Friday except holidays, 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. and 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. on the south side of First Street. 3C is an ordinance to create a classified position, Human Resources Coordinator. D and E were done. F is an ordinance amending chapter 1. Oh, we did that with, whoops, Elizabeth. I is establishing a registry for hearing impaired residents under the Department of Public Safety, Division of Police.
Let me ask you, I wanted to ask a question. Will they be trained?
Jermaine's, yeah?
Will the police be trained when they stop and hearing impaired?
Stop it. This is, what does this do, Jermaine? This is yours, right?
They will have like a sticker or something on their ID so they can be identified.
On their ID?
I mean, right, on a driving license.
Okay.
So where we can identify the deaf or hearing impaired or hard of hearing.
When the cop comes up to somebody, they don't see the ID right away.
Right.
So if they're trying to communicate, how would they know that this person is hearing impaired? That's what I'm saying. Will the police officers be trained in a way that they will, you know, even, yeah. Will they be trained beforehand? Because even when we went to that, workshop, I mean, even with the little skit they did, if they're not trained, it's like, it looks like the hearing impaired person is violent. You know what I mean? Because they're moving their hands and all of this here. And so when the police officer is coming up on a person, remember, he's feel threatened too if it's all
That's
this
something
going
we
on.
gotta ask the
That's what I'm saying. Is the police gonna be trained?
Yeah, they should.
On this
You
one?
understand?
I think all first responders should be trained. I just don't know if that's a, you know, in the academy.
I think we have to ask the question of the public safety director and the police department. So we will follow up with them and ask them.
This is just to give a sticker, so to say. But if the police officer's not being trained, what good is the sticker? Because they're gonna see the sticker after the fact. But when a police officer's walking up, they don't, think about it, I got something. How they walk up, right? Frank, how y'all trained to walk up? Y'all don't see anything, right?
I know they had training to deal with emotions of people, but I'm not sure whether the training had anything to do with hearing.
Right.
The emotional disorders is something different.
I know, but I don't know
Right.
if that was included, you know, to react to people by their body language or what they're doing.
Right.
I'd have to check with the director.
Check with him. Ask him.
Okay, I'll see
Okay.
you tomorrow.
Do it for diabetics.
Or did you have the answer?
Right,
to
for
the training?
diabetics too.
Did you have the answer for the training thing already or no?
You look drunk
They
too.
had training for emotional disturbance.
But not for.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if any of it dealt with body language from any of the other ones, you know, like what to expect from hearing impaired. But I'll see the director tomorrow night.
Oh, perfect. So your fault.
Okay.
And diabetics
I mean,
too,
I
right?
originally wanted it like
Because
on
they
the car
won't
itself, so you would know, but then they said that you would put people in harm's way by, you know.
Bigger than the target.
Right.
It's a good solution.
I mean,
It's a good solution, put down the driver's license rather than put it on the car window or something like that. It's like you're making them a target, yeah.
maybe a little different. I mean, I don't think they would really fast. They would point and, you know,
No,
but
that's what I'm
now,
saying. And if a cop doesn't understand he's hearing impaired, the cop would just say, oh, what he's trying to say. They wouldn't.
But I think that the point is that if you were in that situation and you were hearing impaired and you got pulled over, now that you have the sticker on your license, you should just have it ready and hand it to the police.
Oh, come on. I don't even want to go there. Just go and hand it. Because nowadays, there's too much happening when people just reach in the hand something to a police officer.
So I think our whole concern is that they're very, you know, makes sense.
I want something that makes sense, because if you're going down to handle something, a lot of people have been hurt because of
Why
it.
don't we do this? Maybe we withdraw now and
That's what I'm saying.
find out all
How
those.
many have been
I will
killed?
let you know Wednesday.
Thank you.
Before the meeting.
Okay, President.
Yes.
There's this as a private sponsor Councilman,
And we'll withdraw it until we talk to Shay and see if we can.
You'll talk to him
You
tomorrow?
don't have to withdraw, you don't have to withdraw, but you need to have more answers to this ordinance.
I don't think we need to withdraw.
Okay.
I think we just need to talk to Shay tomorrow and get some answers. You got 2 readings. Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna have a meeting?
You got 2 readings.
Okay.
so. Okay, any questions on second reading items? Hearing none, resolutions from the top.
All right, permit me. We have an emergency temporary appropriation. And be reminded that our budget will be, public hearing will be held at the meeting of the 26th.
When?
Public hearing on the budget will be on the 26th.
So, April 26th.
Correct. B is a resolution requesting approval of the Director of the Division of Local Service to establish a dedicated trust by rider for open space, recreation, and historic preservation. C is establishing the 2017 Open Space Recreation and Historic Preservation Trust tax rate. D, appointing John A. Carpena as a member of the Jersey City Rent Leveling Board. E, a resolution honoring Patricia Logan on the occasion of her retirement.
Part-time, right? She's not retired.
Coming back as a consultant.
Yeah.
Part-time.
She's part-time, yeah, I spoke to her.
We want to honor her anyway.
F, resolution commemorating the annual Yom HaShoah service for Holocaust remembrance.
All of the council members should have received an invitation for the anniversary commemoration.
G, designating the month of April as Autism Awareness Month.
And we'll have, Terry Magro will be, at the council meeting again, will be presented the, resolution.
All right, we have 3 Eagle Scouts, William Orion Ortiz, Mina Kamel, and Jean Pablo Rodriguez.
Congratulations to all.
Commending Theodore Frazier for 37 years of service with the city from community development. L, congratulating Noah Flores on his receipt of the Eagle Scout Award. Got separated from the pack. M, we're introducing the budget of the McGinley Square Special Improvement District.
Question for M. Now, is management part of the salary? Because I know.
You mean the city director?
Right.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it usually is.
It said salary. Like when I looked at the Jackson Hill Main Street, it was a strictly something that said salary.
Yeah, the $48,000 item right in the middle of the document that says management on-site consultant.
Yeah.
That's Christina Barisi.
That's salary, right?
That's salary.
That's salary.
We can confirm that when they come to present, if you'd like.
Well, they won't be presenting until public hearing, yeah. N, we're confirming the sale of city property offered at auction on March 16th. O is authorizing the city of Jersey City to accept a donation of T-shirts for youth summer camps. P is a resolution authorizing the well, let's see, we have a few in a row. 4 in a row, actually. P closes the heights around Riverview Park for the Riverview Jazz Org and the fest on June 10th. Q, Mercer Street from Marin Boulevard to Grove for the Jersey City families for the purpose of the Jersey City Fitness Fair. R, Square Place and Ring Road for the Newport Property Owners Association for the Newport 10K. S, closing Barrow Street from Columbus Drive to Newark Avenue, Bay Street from Erie to Newark, Erie Street from Newark to Bay, and Newark Avenue from Barrow to Erie Streets to Jersey Avenue for the LGBT Pride Festival, Hudson Pride Connection Center. T, ratifying the settlement of the lawsuit of Charmaine Simmons et al. Versus the City of Jersey City et al., effective January 30th, 2017.
Can I just take this opportunity to say, at the next caucus, we'll have a closed session, and the Corporation Council will update us on all litigation that's on the books.
We'll prepare it now. We'll have it right before the next caucus, whatever, right?
Yeah, okay.
If whatever, items you want to list on it. Okay, where are we? We're at V, contract to Helen Clark Ziangas for weight conditioning classes for the Department of Recreation. W is a contract to Carol Lester for yoga classes for the Department of Recreation. Y, we're authorizing the city risk manager to issue a certificate of insurance to Liberty State Park for various cultural and entertainment events. Z is the acceptance and execution of a grant agreement between the city, the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs for funding under the recreational opportunities for individuals with disabilities. Z1 and Z2 were done. Z3 is a resolution of the council commemorating the Gay Officers Action League on their 35th anniversary. Z4 is a resolution of the council authorizing program contracts under the CSBG program for this calendar year. Z5 it is a mortgage subordination agreement for 394, 396 Halliday Street. Z6 is an agreement to subordinate certain city mortgages affecting the property known as 16 Bergen Avenue. Z7 is the execution of an agreement to subordinate certain city mortgages affecting property known as 108 Storms Avenue and 299 Bergen Avenue. Z8 was done. All the way to Z21. A professional services agreement with the law firm of Apperouzes, McDermott, Mastro, and Murphy to represent the city in various union negotiations. Z22 is on the last meeting. It's reappearing before you, an amendment to the professional services agreement with John Curley to represent the city of Jersey City and Donna Maurer in the matter of 247 Manila Avenue. Z23, amending.
What is that, 247 Manila?
That's part of the 6th Street.
That's the 6th Street Embankment.
Oh, okay.
Z23, amending and reauthorizing a professional services agreement with the law firm of Light, De Palma, Greenberg, LLC, to serve as special counsel on behalf of the city in commercial litigation. We did Z24. I handed out a Z25 earlier. It's a resolution recognizing Daddy Sunshine for organizing the 3rd annual Lupus Walk.
Motion. Second.
I have a motion to adjourn at 7:39.
Great job.
By Councilperson Waterman, seconded by Councilperson Osborne. Just say goodnight, everyone, except Councilman Rivera. Hope your back is better and you can see us Wednesday.